string crossings. Whether you are a beginner trying to have stable bow when string crossing, or an advanced player aiming for seamless transitions in fast passages, you are in the right place. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through 7 best practice steps to master the string crossing skills, from the very foundation with open strings in different parts of the bow to the advanced techniques using Kreutzer number 10. You want to make the string crossing sound like you're playing one string, although sometimes we want to really bring out the different characters and make clear articulation in string crossings, but other times we want to really make it smooth transition to make a beautiful music and enjoy the freedom of expression. String crossings is not just about the right arm, it's also about the left hand preparation and the coordination and harmony that both hands are doing together. So if you're ready to level up your skill, tune up your violin, and let's dive in. And before we do that, make sure that you watch the 7 best practice steps for mastering the straight bow. I will take it around here because when you master the straight bow on open strings on one string first, this is going to add up to practicing string crossings. So watch that video first to create the best results that you want. Always make sure that your bow hold is flexible enough. We want to have the pinky curved and then thumb curved. If they are locked like this, you're gonna have to work harder with your bow arm, which could make the string crossings a little awkward. So I would recommend having these kind of exercises that I demonstrate in that video, and then really make your pinky and other fingers all supportive around the bow. Index finger on top, pinky on top, these other fingers from the side, and then thumb from the bottom. The bow has a really good support, but I am not squeezing or tightening my bow hold. It's just loosen bow hold and flexible enough so that my fingers are not really locking the bow hold, because if you do that, you're gonna lock your wrist and lock your elbow. So you don't want that to create smooth transition in your bow change and string crossings. So let's start from really knowing the string level and then also the elbow level depending on each string, because the bridge looks like this. See, like we have curved bridge like this. It's not that stiff. The strings are actually not that far from each other. They're close, so we can even play double steps very easily. Even they're all connected together. So we want to really know the level of your bow arm, because when you really get used to each string's level, your arm is going to follow more smoothly. For example, when you put the bow on G string, your elbow is going to level up here, not here, right? So when I say relax your elbow, students can go like this. Maybe imagine some kind of like a leverage here. So you're leaning on this pillar here, something that's really supporting you. And then you're making this small heel, and then you're leaning on the bow. Your violin is supportive right here. So there's support system, and then your shoulder is not raised up. Many times when we go up, some people do this. So relax your shoulder. So when you go up, it's just the leveled elbow that's relaxed and resting on top of this imaginary pillar. And then it's going up like this. So this is G string level. It's almost kind of similar to the level of your bow hold. And then your wrist is poking up. Don't go like this. See, a little heel, not too much like this, just a little bit, right? And then we're gonna come to the D string level, which is gonna be here. See, this is not too much of a difference, just a little bit. When I'm changing at the frog, I'm actually using my pinky to push it down slightly to this level. So from this level to this level, right? And then I push the bow down with my pinky as I change the bow. Something like that. But if I'm starting from G string, here I am releasing the pinky pressure just a little bit, and then changing the bow angle to G string. Okay, how about the change in the middle bow? So when I change, my elbow goes down slightly, relaxing my upper arm, and then see my bow hold. So at the frog string crossings, your bow hold is really helping the smooth transition. If you try to change the string with your bow arm, it's gonna be a lot of work. See, your arm is moving too much, but to make it smooth, see, there's not much movement. And then same thing. E string, my upper arm is more relaxed. So here, almost like just dropping the arm like this. So E string level is pretty much here, but you don't want to be here. So make sure that your violin is not tilting too much with the angle here, then your bow is not really using the gravity. But you want to support the bow with a little flatter violin so that when you change the bow, here, you want to practice this, really feeling the bow on the pinky. So this is one of the reasons why you don't want to push the bow with your pinky, because that can make the string crossings less smooth. And then try not to slow down, so bow speed is gonna be the same, unless you're intentionally slowing down. And then let's go to the upper half. Upper half movement is gonna be bigger because the bow is long, and then as we go to the tip of the bow, our arm is gonna be more out here. At the frog, the string cross is coming from here to here. It's a big angle, but you can actually make the string cross with your fingers like this. I'm not even moving my arm, right? So this is possible, right? But then here, when you want to make string crosses, it's going to be from here to here, here to here, right? So let's do. So here I'm using my arm to string cross, and then I'm using it a little more ahead of time to move to the next angle of the string. So for example, I was here, leveled up with G string, and then from here, when I go to D string, my upper arm is going to relax down just a little bit gradually, right? And then I'm gonna change to G string again. So I will be moving my elbow just a little higher as I come to the string cross. And then same thing. Try to move a little gradually because like the angles are very round together, but still A string level. You can actually make it just a little closer to D string before you get to string cross, rather than coming from here to here abruptly. Let's make it smooth by moving your bow just a little bit closer to the D string to make the transition even smoother. So using my upper arm to move the bow smooth smoothly. That's how you make the transition smooth. And then when you do middle bow, it's the same thing. It's just less movement than at the frog or at the tip. So and one more tip is that when your bow shakes when you string cross, that means you are trying to control from your bow hold. You get tight for some reason when you're making string crossings because you feel like you need to change so much, but it's actually very close together. So when you just learn the angles of each string by really getting to know each string's angle and then doing the repetition of going back and forth like we just did, then when you're string crossings, you just have to relax your arm and then follow the flow with relaxed bow arm and bow hold. So I'm just leaning on the bow and let the bow just flow on top of the string. Okay? In this way, you will be able to really make the string crossings more smooth and clean. And after working on separate bows, we also want to work on the slurs. Slurs are a little more of the upper arm movement. The elbow needs to move in round motion like this, not like this, but it's one gesture, right? So let's work on the two strings. See how my arm is moving up a little more ahead of time to get to G string in time. If I am playing one beat on each note, I want to make it equal in both portions. So let's try to make the string crossing in the middle of the bow. Then I have to start moving little closer to the middle bow. And then same thing here. My arm is already going up to play G string in the middle, right? Same thing. And then do the opposite. See, whenever you have to move up your arm to come to the higher angle, you want to do it a little more diligently, a little more ahead of time, because dropping your arm is going to be easier and more natural than having to lead your arm a little upward. See, it moves just a little slowly. Your bow arm as you come to the lower angle. And then let's also do 3-note slurs. Smooth. Dropping the arm and then lifting the arm. And then the angle of it, but at the same time you're just drawing one smooth line like this, not like a staircase, right? So that's something that you want to work on to really get used to the smooth slurs only on open strings first, because when your left hand comes in, when you're practicing, you will notice that your bow is not doing the same thing as you practice the open strings, because you're focused on the left hand, and then for some reason when you get tight here, your bow hold gets tight and your bow arm gets tight too. So you want to really make sure that your left hand is set up correctly with relaxed thumb. And if you haven't watched the intonation video, that's a good video to watch to really set up your left hand comfortably and comfortably enough to play in tune all the time. Also, the listening skill has to be leveled up, but at the same time, you want to always make sure that your fingers are comfortably dropping down to the right place. And to do that, but we want to make a good, comfortable home for these family members. Dad, mom, sister, and baby. So not moving away like this, that could make the string crossing, believe it or not, very choppy. Because when you're moving to different strings, so for example, see, like if you're not doing, it's hard to play. If you're here, see, that makes the string crossings not really smooth. So if you want to make the string crossings smooth, you want to set up your hand comfortably for all 4 fingers first. So make sure your D is in tune. I always tune these 2 fingers with open strings. So and then because of that, my first finger would have to lie down a little bit on the side because I have small hand and I have really thin and small pinky. So I need to kind of adjust it for this baby finger. And then the sister finger is supporting it. And then dad and mom can sacrifice just a little bit. So, but there is a support system from the thumb and then also from this holder, right? So this is settling your left hand. When your string crossings, what is moving is elbow level, moving like this. So this pinky side of your arm is going to stabilize. So when you're string crossing, see here? See, my arm is moving this way and then my fingers are just dropping on the spot, right? Because I am settled for a good stable hand form. In this way, the string crossings can be smooth because your pinky is not going back and forth and needing time that can mess up the coordination between your right hand and left hand. So let's practice G major scale, just simple 2-octave scale in first position. So when you go separate bow first. See, my left hand is always preparing for the next note. And then my bow is doing the same thing as we worked on open strings. Just doing smooth transition. To notice that my fingers are walking. Walking the fingers, I always talk about this, and that means when we are walking, when we are taking the step, our new step, when we take the new step, our old step is still there until we fully step on the new step, and then we're walking towards front, and then the old step is still there. If we are just jumping, if there is no transition, that both feet are not like fully down, but somehow down, that's not walking, that's hopping, right? So I don't want you to hop the fingers, because if you do that, what happens is that, see, like you hear in between noise, something like that. So when you hear noise in between 2 strings, that means your finger was up too early. So walking the finger means I wouldn't take this third finger off before I get to this D. And then I can take off. Here, I get to A and then take off. As soon as I get to the next note, you can take it off. But don't press down. It's just a gentle... See, it can be like on the surface of the string, not press down wholly because that can also lock your hand, but just until you go to the next string, just gently, and then come up. And then first finger, I wouldn't take this off before I get to E, right? If I do, see there's a in-between noise. I want to make sure that I get there and then take off. So something to watch out with your bow arm is still, let's not do this. The elbow needs to travel together as you go up. See, I'm going up. Right? And then arpeggios. See, my fingers are walking. My G is still already there. And then third finger moving ahead of time. And then second finger. First finger already down. First finger. And then second finger. You can practice the transition. Something like that. Always practice the transition so you're walking fingers ahead of time and then your bow is going and playing the note in time. Okay, so the next step is to practice the slurs. So let's start by doing 4 notes in one bow scale. My elbow is moving on ahead of time. And then 8 notes in one bow. My arm is moving smoothly. And then if you are just stopping by on one string, I wouldn't move my arm all the way down. So for example, see, I'm just stopping by for this one note. I wouldn't go like this. Stay on the A string level and just push the bow a little bit with my pinky to get to E string and then come back. Something like that. That could also stabilize, and then less movement is more efficient. So you don't want to move too much when you're doing the string crossings, especially when you're, okay, so there are passages like something like that. When you have 2 strings going back and forth, you're just playing. My elbow is not fixed, but kind of stabilized, so I'm not going like this. I'm just angled in between these two string angle, and then just moving my wrist and my bow hold up and down, doing this. And then the bow is just resting on the strings. And then if you have arpeggios like, how about the Chaconne? carried away a little bit. So the important thing here is that your left hand is always set up to play the string crossings without worrying about preparing for the next note with your left hand. In this case, we are practicing like we're putting the fingers down as if we are playing chords. And then the bow arm is gonna go. And then notice that my elbow is not moving too much, but something like that. So resting the bow on the string and then just following without holding it too tight is the key when you have multiple string crossings, constant string crossings like chord progressions in many different advanced level violin pieces. And then one more technique and exercises I think it'll be helpful. There are so many different etudes that can really help you practice string crossings, and Kreutzer has a lot, but I would pick number 10 for today because this one has different kinds of variations that can demonstrate different kinds of separate bow string crossings and then slur string crossings and different directions. Practice slowly. When you have to jump two strings for string cross, tip is to move without lifting the bow. You don't need to do this. Just rest the bow and then just go to E string without making sound. See? So if you rest the bow and not press down, just resting and then just move the angle. At the bottom, if you have to go from G string to E string, I would lift it, but just a little bit above the string. And what I would do is to move my pinky, see, like I'm just pushing down the bow with the angle here to E string level. So you can do here. See, I just move this angle. So and then always preparing for the left hand. And then after that we have slurs. See, this could be a little tricky because it's from G string to E string. Rest the bow and then just move a little faster. And then so the slurs are on different places in different variations. See this one, you can practice making this smooth. See, my two fingers are placed down as if I'm playing double stops. Otherwise, see, this can happen. See, like kind of like not really smooth transition. See, put it down. So you can play like you're playing open string with your arm if you don't have to worry about the left hand placement. Something like that. And then next, see, the slurs are either on the first two notes or second two notes and then third two notes. And then after that, we also have this kind of slur staccato is really good way to practice slurs because a lot of times when the slur is on many notes together, we kind of don't know where we are string crossing exactly. But when you play slur staccato, we have to know where we are moving because in order to make the note articulated and then bite the string to release it, you have to get to that string, right? So here, I have to get to A string to bite it, and then get to D string to bite it, and then go to. See, so that is making it very clear after this exercise, we know exactly where we're string crossings. Otherwise, see, like I'm not really demonstrating well, but your bow can be lost in between strings or touch other strings when you're not sure when you are string crossing. So when you have slurs in string crossing, like on different strings, the best way to practice is to do the slur staccato and then really know where you are string crossing and then practice the slurs. That's the best way to practice that. And then we have two more variations. And then so the aim for having different kinds of slurs on different locations are to make those slur notes sound smooth. So that's the practice that you can do, because sometimes when we do separate bows, we are not as prepared as we do the slurs with our left hand. And it always comes with the coordination between your left hand and right hand. String crossing is all about the harmonizing together with your left hand and right hand together, but always preparing your left hand ahead of time so that you're settled with good hand form, and then you don't have to worry about finger placement when you're really working on the smooth transition with your bow arm. And sometimes separating those two are important when you are practicing. So open strings first and then just left hand with separate bow. Just make it as easy as possible and slow as possible to be able to practice without getting overwhelmed or making lots of mistakes. Just make it as easy as possible in the beginning, and then you can get comfortable with that and then go to the next level a little faster up to the tempo. So these are the practice tips that you can use when you're practicing string crossings, and always make sure that you are getting used to the transition with repetition when you're practicing string crossings, knowing both right hand and left hand have to work together and collaborate together to make the sound smooth and clean and effortless. So making the best environment for both right hand and left hand is the key in violin practicing. When you can make that happen, violin practice is going to be more enjoyable and you can create the results faster with this kind of good environment that you're making for both right hand and left hand. So as you can see, I'm always coming from this holistic approach of harmonizing together and aligning your body and mind and everything together to be able to play the violin with deeper understanding about how can we really make it comfortable and easy for the violin sound to be more beautiful and express it more freely. If this method resonates with you, grab my 10 steps to a happy and effective violin practice free PDF down below and go through the steps as you are going to experience the alignment, breath work, and surrendering, and using all those things in your violin practice will open up so much, and there will be more possibilities that you can create from that place. And if you want more support from me and other violin colleagues, join my private Facebook group called Holistic Violinists. There you can make friends. This is a violin family with people who are very supportive, always growing and cheering each other up and celebrating each other. And when you have questions, you can always ask in the comment below or in the private group so that I can get back to you or make another video around that. If there's any takeaway from this video, comment below. I will be so happy to read them. And if this was helpful for you, share this video with others. Subscribe to my channel for more valuable tips like this. Thank you for watching this video. Happy practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.